All right, everybody, welcome back to my channel. You know what song I've got in my head? Everybody, yeah, yeah, rock your body, yeah. hmm It's just going to keep going in my head until I get it out. So thanks for letting me get it out. Are we on that level yet? I hope we're on that level. So today we're going to talk about 2025 energies. It is officially June 1st as I am delivering this message. What time? Where are you? What's going on in your life in 2025? Where are we meeting in this crazy time space continuum we are at right now? This particular message is going to be all about 2025's energy. We're halfway through the year. I've never done a YouTube video fully explaining what is going on in the energies this year. What do we need to know? And how do we keep moving forward? And I hope that today's video supports you in being able to go, oh, this is why I'm feeling so much pressure. But first, I want to tell you a story. If you're new here, this is going to be the first time you've heard it. If you've been here for a while, and this is not going to be the first time you've heard it, but maybe it's the first time that you've really listened to it. And so, either way, thanks for hanging out with me, and let's dive in. So, as a channel, which is what I do, I channel messages for people about what's going on in their soul. I channel messages from different beings that I work with. I work with a particular being, and his name is Tay. Tay is a Syrian being that I have channeled since the early days of 2023. Now, if you haven't caught my entity attachment video yet, I encourage you to check that one out first, because that really explains how did I get from going on the Galactic Federation mothership, channeling Arcturian councils every single day, to then having multiple nefarious attachments, and now how did we end up channeling an alien again? Like, how did all of this happen? And so I encourage you to check that out before we go further. Now, all the entity attachments have been removed and there is no more demonic attachments in my energy field. Yay! And now, I'm laying in bed, meditating. And for the first time ever, I actually see an interdimensional being right next to me. Prior to this, I had been channeling, I had been astral traveling, but I'd never actually seen something beside me. Interdimensionally, meaning I'd open my eyes and it wasn't physically there. I'd close my eyes and I would be able to see. And so this being says, my name is Tay, and I need you to help me with something called the Great Merge. I had never heard of anything called the Great Merge before. I had no preconceived awareness of this being whatsoever, but I did know we were ascending. I just used words like Age of Aquarius, such as 5D, such as we're evolving into higher dimensions. There was no great merge in my vernacular. Next thing you know, this being begins to channel information about what is happening on planet Earth. He delivered to me that we are the representation of the 12 constellations, the 4 elements, and the one source. That when we integrate our understanding of this Earth as the 12 constellations, as the 4 elements, we will understand ourselves as aspects of this one source, and we will ultimately help Earth harmonize. Not necessarily ascend to 5D. These were not languages that he was using, but rather that we would help Earth harmonize. And for the first time, I really felt resonant with that, because I had found that what had led me to my demise, if you will, let's call it that, my pivot moment, was that everything I was doing was to ascend, to hit higher levels of consciousness, to do cool things, to try to reach higher and higher and higher skills. But me, Victoria as a person, was not balanced. Me as Victoria the person was always chasing. I was never in my body. And when I heard the word harmony, it felt like, yes, that makes sense to me. It would make sense that Earth is trying to harmonize dissonance and resonance, different vibrations, to try to find what harmony looks like. Because then it's not one or the other. Maybe it's both in better order. And so, after all this channeled information came through, and I sat with it and I processed it, and I said, holy crap, am I going to say yes to whatever this is? I said yes. And this led me to what was the first Great Merge. They became events where I would call light workers from all over the world to join me, to do global light work at different grid points all around the world during particular transits. So, like, I think everybody knows the 8-8 portal. We would go to a particular location on that 8-8 portal and perform global light work. So deeply in integrity, deeply safe, deeply protected energy healing, particularly for the earth, and based on the information that Tay had channeled about 30 days prior to us meeting in person. I have now completed 6 great merges. I'm leading up to my next one that is happening in Peru. So depending on when you catch this, our next one, we do the 8-8 portal in Peru, but we begin July 2nd. And I'll drop the link below in case you're curious, because we've got another one coming up at the end of 2025 as well in Australia. And so I follow the cues with my sovereignty, of course, with my control, with my power. And we have been able to assist the world in such extraordinary ways. It's impossible to explain. I think we want to feel this complete egolessness and this unbreakable connection with our own soul. And this is what we tap into inside of the Great Merge. And I get to do it with light workers all over the world. And so I wanted to preface this, explain what the Great Merge is. One, so that if you're called, please join us. Please join us in this movement. We've donated over $30,000 after 6 merges to collective causes all around the world. And we are just getting started. All of the partial proceeds that we make post-chef, post-location, post-travel, all of that included, we donate to the world. And so I'd love to have you to join us, because we're just getting started and the work that we're doing is so important. And this leads me to what Tay channeled about 2025's energy. So I've got my second phone here. I'm going to relay some of the information about what he said to me at the end of 2024, leading into 2025, about what we needed to know. And it has proven to be so accurate in my body, continuously reminding me like, oh, right, oh, right, oh, right. And so I hope it does the exact same thing for you. So first thing we need to know about 2025 is that we're in the year of the mother. And the way he described it was that, and I'll give you the exact words, from the pressure came something so beautiful, so perfect, so miraculous, you could not deny it was God. It takes 9 months to birth a child, 9 lives, sometimes 9 lessons, and this is the number 9 year in numerology. This is the year that we clear. This is the year that we clear from the pressure. Next thing he began to talk about is how this is the year of also the diamond, how diamonds are created from pressure, how our energy is going to experience so much pressure pretty much consistently, and it's going to build, and it's going to build, and it's going to build until we get to the point that we are brave enough to go, I have to be the one to release this. Good. It's still on. I have to find the release point. I am the one that goes first. And this year is going to challenge us once and again and once and again and once and again until we can be the ones to release the pressure that we feel, whether that's about money, whether that's about how unknown so many elements of our lives are. The collective state is so unknown, whether it's our relationships and feeling like they're not here yet, wherever we are feeling the gap between where we are and where we know we need to be, or how safe we truly feel in these natural energetics of being more in this feminine state of being. That pressure, we are only going to find true resolve if we find it within ourselves. But that pressure is going to be with us pretty much all of 2025. So talking to you now halfway through 2025, has that been true for you? Have you felt that resistance? I think pressure feels like a good word to describe it, but maybe resistance is better, or that contraction that over time, it just keeps getting louder and louder and you're having to acknowledge it at some point. But nothing else can offer it to you. It's something that you have to find in your own nervous system. It's something you have to find with your own conviction, your own choice, your own trust that it's time for better. So, yes, from the pressure came something so beautiful, so perfect, so miraculous. It had to be God. If we think about the path of the mother and the amount of initiation that she goes through to bring a child into life, into form, into physical manifestation, from that pressure of the contraction came something that the next moment, it's like, what pain? What 20-hour labor? What moment? I just brought something to life from so much pressure. That's the energy this year. And you see how it's going to be created once and again and once and again and once and again until, like, when am I going to get to the point where I'm just not creating this resistance between me and God, or if you choose to use the word source or universe in this world, in V's world, I use the word God, but it's not associated with a religious ideology. God is just the word that serves me. And so if that serves you, place that there. If not, use whatever word serves you. I just wanted to preface that. Yes, this is going to be a big year of that pressure. And so, one thing I encourage you to consider, especially as we move through this year, one thing he was talking about is how there is going to be this undeniable amount of absorption of energy that we're going to have to try to find release points for. So the chakras are absorbing so much. This is why I talk so much about psychic protection. Psychic protection isn't because I'm afraid I'm going to die. Psychic protection is because I want to preserve my life force. Very different energy. I'm not putting up protection because I'm afraid of you. I'm putting up protection because I have the dignity and respect for my own energy. So I can bring that version of myself, the most pure, connected, sovereign version of myself, into dynamics in the world right now. Which the dynamics of the world right now are so heightened. We're so much more sensitive than we've ever been. And so because of that, the energy that we're experiencing, it's like constant absorption. And yes, the chakras are like sponges, but when we put up that psychic protection, we practice the tools of the sovereign healer way, then now it's like they're not necessarily absorbing so much. All these energies are not necessarily absorbing so much, and they can reflect off of me like a mirror. So you're going to feel this continuation of pressure. And you're going to have to be brave enough to say, I'm done with this pressure, because from this pressure, like a diamond, it's going to refine you and help you crystallize your energy and connect deeper with God, source, universe, creator. It's going to help you be able to actually dissolve the resistance between you and complete trust in whatever is going on in your life. But it will not let up until you let in. It will not let up until you let in. Next part of this is the chakras. They are absorbing so much right now. There's so much potential for attack to happen. And if you haven't checked out my Instagram, I encourage you to, because I have plenty of videos about attack and how attack happens in different dimensions based on where you're at. And there is an acceleration of that. Why? Because there's an acceleration of your power. There's an acceleration of your connection, of your sovereignty, of your natural path of life. And as a byproduct, there is an extraordinary intergalactic war that has been happening for thousands of years that our power threatens. And so if we're not working to really cleanse our energy, to protect, to stay grounded, these are the sovereign healer principles I work with, then we're going to absorb too much. And then unfortunately, what's going to end up happening with a lot of people, and we've seen it already this year, is they're just going to choose to end their soul contract early. They're just going to pass through the veil. They're just going to decide that I'm not going to complete this because it's too much absorption, and then it creates disease. And then it's like, can I overcome it? I don't know if I can. And so be it. But disease is going to continue to happen, especially because 2026 is a significant year in our collective harmonization through the great merge timing. That we have to learn to work with our body, and we have to be able to find our own release points. When the pressure builds, when the scarcity builds, when the heaviness builds, when the confusion builds, when the I don't think I could trust this builds, like, you have to be able to find whatever your way is to come back to. This is not for me to hold. I give it somewhere else. Like, I'm not available to keep perpetuating my suffering and my pain. You feeling that? Yes. Yes, the way out is in the mind and body and soul. Yes, and this is the year that we have the potential to exit into the great destination of light. And when I say the great destination of light, I'm not saying we land in 5D. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that we can finally find these exit points from repeating the same patterns over and over and over, the 8 year where we just came from, 2024, where it was like, how many times am I going to repeat this same lesson? Until I'm like, I am the problem. Like, we had that happen so much. Now we have the opportunity to exit because we can show ourselves we're safe. Because we can actually work with these frequencies and come back into our sovereignty and make more empowered decisions. And so we can exit these repetitive patterns should we choose, and we can exit into the destination or the embodiment of deeper trust, deeper awareness, deeper fortification, deeper self-love, deeper peace. And so keep an eye on this as you continue to move through the rest of this year. What is going on in the body? Where are you absorbing too much? Can you just, what is your practice to letting it go? Find those release points, because from this pressure, you are going to find the most miraculous connection to God that you have ever felt if you let yourself go there. If you're brave enough to let yourself go there. Because honestly, the alternative at this point of our ascension is almost too painful to entertain. It's unrelenting. So I'm going to probably have some more updates for you as we continue to move through 2025, but this feels complete for right now. At the halfway mark, where are you at? And what do you need? Give yourself that, because this is the time to do it. Otherwise, the energy is going to keep building, and the more disembodied we're going to become. And that is very, very challenging to come back to harmony into. All right. If this resonates with you, please let me know. As always, please like, share, subscribe, whatever feels good for your energy, for your heart. I really appreciate it. We're working to build this community here and to share as much value as we can for all of those of you who want to secure your ascension. So amazing. Thank you so much for being here today. I'm V, and I'll see you guys again very soon. Bye.